So I'll just give an introduction on what this presentation is really about. I won't be going into any technical knowledge on hacking or anything, but when I was doing my second year, which was last year, um, like being in the cybersecurity lectures and being in the cybersecurity, what do you say, the specialization, it was a bit different than when you compare with software engineering and IT students, because they have enough guidance and enough knowledge on the internet, like they can also search on their things and they could get a proper idea. But being in the cybersecurity specialization, apart from lectures and everything, even though we had lecturers advising us, there was still some confusion on what to do in cybersecurity, like what exactly cybersecurity is, and like, is there enough jobs for me? Like what do I need to learn and stuff like that. So I just wanted to share my experience, like what I've learned for the past 1.5 years and how I learned it, so that it can either, like, it can at least help you all a bit. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So first of all, I'll start with an introduction to all the domains of cybersecurity. And then I would share my personal experience, and I will be also sharing some resources for you to learn and get better, which you can do it after the call here. So before we go into this, I think we can make this more interactive. So before we go into here, I would like you all to take your phones, and if your phone is nearby, you can open a browser window. And I hope you can see my browser. And if you go to this website, menti.com, and use this code, I just want you to answer this simple question. If you are already in the cybersecurity industry, or if you want to join the cybersecurity industry, just with one word, tell me why do you want to join. It would be good if you can interact with this session and talk. If you want, even you can talk to me and answer this. Just go to your open in your mobile browser or your Windows browser. Go to this website and type this code. I hope you can see my screen. The code and the website is visible. And just you have to insert a word on, like, let me know why did you choose, or why you want to choose cybersecurity. If there are any problems, you can unmute yourself and ask me. Go to this website, menti.com, and use this code, and you can join the session here. And I just want to know why did you or want to join cybersecurity here. If there's any, is there any issue? If there's any issue, can you unmute yourself and let me know? Okay. Okay, we already have two answers here. One is saying like it's interesting for me, and another one is saying, okay, you want to learn about hacking, he or she want to learn about hacking. I think we have more participants than two of us, so I think you can also give your opinion on this. I'll just give a minute or so. If anyone else wants to answer, just share your opinion, because I'm not going to know who answered this or anything. Yeah, okay, we have another answer. Okay, great. We have, okay, investigating upcoming industry. What else do you think? I'll just give another minute. Okay, so far we have 7 answers. I think, yeah, this sums all about cybersecurity, like even why I wanted to join cybersecurity, because it was interesting. It seems interesting for me, and it was an upcoming industry. I used to watch this TV show called Mr. Robot, if you have heard of it. So that is how, when I was in my A levels, I watched that series, Mr. Robot, and I was like thinking, okay, this seemed interesting to me. See, I'm going to get into IT. I don't want to be in a boring area. So At least if I'm going to the IT industry, let me be in an interesting sector so that it will be enjoyed for me also. Okay, great. We have 11 answers now. Okay, everyone is saying it's interesting and they want to learn about hacking forensic. And yeah, that's great. So that is what I wanted. You can still type your answers while I'm doing the session here, so that at the end of the session, we have a word cloud of all the reasons you want to choose cybersecurity. I'll continue with my presentation here. Okay. So continue from this area. Okay, so one of the answers was they wanted to hack something. Yeah. So to be in cybersecurity is not all about hacking, but you need to have a hacking mindset in any sector in cybersecurity. First, let's just look at this picture. You have a box with 4 holes, and you have a triangular prism here with a prism with a triangular cross section. And how others would look is, where do you think this this object would fit in one of the shapes? If you want, you can add it in the chat window. I'll be looking at it. You can add it in the chat window if you want, but just think to yourself, where would this object fit or go inside through this box? I'll just play the video for you. Yeah, so that basically sums up cybersecurity. What people would think, what system developers, someone into networking, like what they would want a certain outcome. And if you just look at this without thinking deeply, this object here would fit into this triangular cross section. That is what you would think. But since this is a 3D shape, there's an unintended consequences where it fits into this box cross section. This is what really hacking or cybersecurity is. You think in a way differently and uniquely, in which no one else is going to think about. That is what is going to separate cybersecurity students and professionals from other specialization. So before I move to the next slide here, if there are any questions, you can ask me in the chat. I'll keep on answering them. So back in 2018, yeah, and before going to the cybersecurity specialization, I was in my first year. I wanted to know what exactly cybersecurity is. After watching Mr. Robot, is it only about hacking? Is it only me sitting in front of a laptop somewhere in a dark room and doing something like no one should do? I'm back. When I was in my second semester and second year, I came across this diagram, which I think is a very good and knowledgeable diagram for me, and I hope it is the same for you. All the domains in the cybersecurity, most of them are mentioned here. So cybersecurity, after seeing this, I thought, cybersecurity is not only about hacking. There's a lot more areas which I can go into and which you can go into. So one of the familiar areas we are familiar with would be risk assessment, where it would when you talk about hacking, when you want to go offensive, this would be your area, offensive security, penetration testing, vulnerability scanning. You do a source code scan, and everything would come under this offensive side. So if you want to look into a defensive area, it would be security operation centers, where you run a SOC, where you read the logs and log recovery, and you analyze logs and you look for data leakage. And if anyone is interested in digital forensics, you'd be doing incident response here, disaster recovery, business continuity planning. These all would be, for some of you all, these may be new words, but I just want to throw these words at you because for you to know that there's more to cybersecurity than just hacking. Hacking is just in every area here. Hacking would be a part of it. Let it be social hacking, people hacking. You're going to hack a website, hack a network. So hacking is just not only offensive, not only you being a red team, but you can also do hacking in a defensive way. So other domains would be, if you're looking at in frameworks, if you're going to the governance side, GRC, governance, regulation and compliance. So those are also very good areas, which if you don't want to be more technical, if you want to focus on a non-technical side, governance area would be suitable for you. And if you want to build secure systems, then you can go to the security architecture part, where you look at cryptography, network designing, identity management. So all of these parts I mentioned here, even though I'm just saying this assessment is a part you could go to, security operation is a part you could go to, studying that would be a huge task actually. That will take most of your time. So you might need to focus on one specific topic and then branch on to others. But all of this would depend on how you want to go. Because everyone is unique, everyone has a different personality, and you might want to go on one path and your friend wants to go on another path. So it takes a bit of time for you to realize which path you want to go to. I apologize, just give me 1 minute. Sorry, I apologize for the delay. So where I was continuing was, so cybersecurity itself has many domains like this, which I invite you to explore and learn about it more. So moving to the next part here. So if done right, cybersecurity would only be a part of IT. You don't need a separate cybersecurity specialization, because whatever you're going to learn in cybersecurity is part of the IT sector. So this is also another advantage for anyone who is in cybersecurity or want to learn cybersecurity. Whatever IT sector is there, be it software, networking, designing, anything, everything, like for every component of IT, there's a cybersecurity domain attached to it. You want to go into cloud, you want to look into cloud services, deployment, DevOps, developer operations, and those areas. Every one of them has a cybersecurity team or a component attached to that. So, so this is also good news for everyone who wants to get into cybersecurity, because there's a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities if you're into cybersecurity. And choosing a domain is very important. For example, if I chose, I want to be in the offensive team, I want to do risk assessment, then I would look at that part. I would see what do I need to get better at it. And then being only in that part is not enough. In the previous diagram I showed you, if you want to choose, we'll say risk assessment, being only in this domain won't be beneficial for you in the long run. So if you're going to study something, you study this a bit, then you experiment yourself. Okay, I'm good with offensive. Let me check what the defensive is about. I want to see how a security operations center works. Because if you're the offensive guy and you do some, maybe you do some assessment on a company, and you want to know how do they respond. Okay, in their software, how do they see it? Do they see me logging in? So those things and all, if you branch out to other domains, it can increase your overall knowledge in the cybersecurity industry. And finding the right domain can take multiple tries to you. Okay, in the first year or the first semester, like maybe you would be thinking, I want to go into the offensive part, but after a while, maybe you thought, okay, that's not for me. I don't want to go into the hacking part. I don't want to pop up shells. I don't want to do nmap scan. That is boring to me. Maybe then you can look into other parts like forensics investigation, running a security operations center, analyzing logs, looking at Wireshark, PCAP files, doing threat intelligence, or if you want to go into the governance side, there's a lot of options available to you in the cybersecurity domain, and I invite you to try at least some of them and see where do you fit in. Okay, in the chat, just let me know, what do you think is the most important skill in cybersecurity? What do you think the most important skill in cybersecurity is? I'll be looking at the chat, so So just let me know on what is the most important skill in cybersecurity. Just in the chat window, you can just type it. I'll be just looking at it. I just want your opinions. Let's not just make it a lecture. If you want to unmute yourself and talk, that's fine. Just let me know. What was the question here again? Yeah, the most important skill in cybersecurity. Just type it in the chat also. If you want to unmute yourself and tell also, it will be fine, because either you're going to answer this or we are going to be in silence like this for a long time. Everyone will be silent for a long time, and that will be an uncomfortable situation for you and for me also. So if someone could answer it, like, just type it in the chat. I don't want you to unmute yourself if you're feeling shy. What do you think the most, what is it? Not the most skill, the most important. The most important skill in cybersecurity. What do you think? Just some of it, I think most of it here from SLIIT, and you're in the second year. So far, maybe you know what this is about, or in your first year. If anyone wants to answer that or not. I'm going to be silent like this for a long time if you're not going to answer anyway. Okay, so we have one answer. Thank you, Raja Karnat. We have problem solving. Yeah, that's a great skill to have, because all about cybersecurity is for you to solve the problems. Any other answers? I just need some answers. 3 or 4 would be okay. So some of the other things I could think is you want to be adaptable. I'll be talking about some of the things later. Yeah, researching, practicing, and learning. Okay, good. Okay, I'm getting answers. Researching, practicing, and learning are very important. You have to always be updated, and I'll share some resources for you to look into that. Yeah, thinking different. Good. Handling secrecy. Okay, I'm happy that some of you are answering here. Okay, so apart from this, I have an idea. Like, I think of something on what is the most important skill we have as a cybersecurity individual. Like, what is the most important skill you need to have is, I would say, to Google. If you're not into Googling, if you're more privacy minded, if you're using DuckDuckGo, any other search engine, use the search engine and search for things. Because this is what a lot of us, it is not only limited to the like what I see from my friends in cybersecurity, but as a whole, even in other specialization, I see this problem is people don't want to search about things. People don't want to Google. If you're only limiting yourself to the lectures and the slides or what what the lecturer teaches you, you won't last long, or you won't be successful in this industry. I'm sorry to say, but that is what the actual truth is. You have to search on what is beyond Sri Lanka, what is happening beyond Sri Lanka here. Like, what are the, if there's a, maybe if there's a software, like what are the vulnerabilities they have found here. Weekly, there are sources where you can read about this. There are many YouTubers and there are many blogs which are going to talk about that. So learn how to Google. If you don't know something, let's say you want to know how to scan a network, you want to know more about Nmap, just type Nmap tutorial. There's thousands of blogs, thousands of videos teaching you how to do an Nmap scan. If you want to learn more about, you would say, HTTPS, maybe for that also you have resources. So, with my experience, okay, so I'll be sharing some resources I know. I'll be sharing this slide later, so don't worry. You don't have to note it. I'll share the slide. You'll have all of this information with you. These are some of the resources I used myself to learn more about cybersecurity generally. So there's content for everyone. If you're not into reading, I'll be sharing some YouTube channels and videos also. The first thing I want to look into is this book, Breaking into Information Security by Andy Gill. This is a very good book. I have read it, and like, it opened my eyes on what I need to do in this industry. Like, being in the cybersecurity industry, it's not like I will be focusing on software and network, or I'll be focusing on securing web application, not like that. You'll be doing all of the things. Like, you'll be securing networks, you'll be securing web applications until you get into a very specific area in cybersecurity. So like just after you graduate or next year, like you won't be saying, right, I will be only working in a SOC, or I'll be only doing red team assessment or anything, like, because they won't provide that to you. So you would have to have an overall idea about all the other areas also. So this is a very good book. Then there's this famous hacker, I think most of you might know, Kevin Mitnick. He has a general book, not related to cybersecurity, but for the general audience. It's called The Art of Invisibility. It's a good book. And if you're into web application pen testing, this is the de facto standard book. Like, this is the book everyone recommends if you're into web application pen testing, or if you want to look into bug bounty. The Web Applications Hackers Handbook. I think there's a version 2 also in this handbook. This is a must-read book if you're into web application pen testing, or also if you're into securing web applications. And the last book would be Web Hacking 101. This is a free book. It is based on some of the bug bounty write-ups. So if you're into bug bounty, I highly recommend you to read these 2 books also. Then podcasting. I don't know if anyone is familiar here. I don't know if Sri Lankans, like, we are still familiar with podcasting than like videos and books. So podcasting is when you only have the audio. Okay, so that is basically podcasting. You hear someone speaking, you don't see the video. There's only the audio. We have some famous podcasters here in Sri Lanka. So in podcasting, so there's a famous podcast called Darknet Diaries. If you're taking something out of this talk, like if you learn something out of this talk, I want you to just go and search what is Darknet Diaries and listen to that. Listening to Darknet Diaries, like, it opened up my horizons and like opened up my eyes on what exactly is possible in cybersecurity, because he'll be interviewing some famous personalities in cybersecurity and he'll be explaining on some of the hacks which happened and how did they happen. Everything in a very interesting way. It won't be like a normal lecture with audios and everything. It will be very interesting and immersive. Highly recommend you to go and watch that, or listen to that, sorry. Then there's Cyber by Motherboard. It's a weekly podcasting session where they talk about the happening, like cybersecurity happening around the week. And then there's Malicious Life. They talk about some viruses and worms and how did they create the virus, like it's basically history here, what they talk about Malicious Life in cybersecurity history. So for you to, like, when you go into the industry, like, people would want to know like how much you know, right? So if you want to be a knowledgeable person, or you want to at least project that image to everyone, okay, that you know things and people hire you, it's recommended you know the history of cybersecurity also, like all the hacks which have greatest cybersecurity incidents which have happened, and what were the famous malwares and famous viruses and those things. There are a lot of podcasts available actually. This is also what I recommend for you to go and Google and see. Just type cybersecurity and podcast, you'll get so much of them. Just Google them. These are the ones I can recommend. And if you go to YouTube, if you have heard about DEF CON, DEF CON is a yearly hacking conference happening in Las Vegas. And this year they made it virtual and free for everyone. They have a YouTube channel, and every year, this is the largest hacking conference happening in the world, DEF CON. And every year they would record. So parallelly, there will be so many tracks, if you're into offensive, it will happen for 3 days parallelly with the blue team track. And there are so many, I think, either 15 to 20 tracks happening at the same time. It's the largest hacking conference, and they, even if you can't go to US and buy the plane ticket and buy the conference ticket and watch the talk, they would record it every year and put it in the YouTube channel. So I highly recommend you go and watch it. That will teach you, if you're into beginner cybersecurity topics only, it will go into much more deeper knowledge, and you'll get a proper understanding, and you'll have a solid foundation in this industry. And there are other YouTube channels which I can recommend. There's a YouTube channel called Stock. He's a very good guy. Like, he talks about bug bounty, and there's Cyber Mentor, Nahamsek, Insider PHP. These are some YouTubers who are into cybersecurity, and they talk about bug bounty and pen testing and stuff. If you want to learn more about bug bounty, I highly recommend you to go and watch Insider PhD, Stock, and Cyber Mentor. And like DEF CON, there's an organization called B-Sides. So B-Sides unlike DEF CON, won't happen at only one place. It will be happening all over the world. They'll have chapters all over the world. So there's B-sides Newcastle, B-sides London, B-sides New York. I think this in India we have B-side Delhi. In Sri Lanka we don't have any B-sides community yet. So they would also record some of their sessions. And if you just go to the B-side website, you can look at all the communities available, and whatever sessions they do, they put it out. And there's an organization called SANS, and they would do some. This is the YouTube channel, SANS Summit Talks. They also have some resources for you to learn. So, what the earlier resources I shared with you were passive. You are not gonna take part in it. You're just gonna sit and read the book, or gonna listen to it, or you're just gonna watch it. These resources, what I'm sharing here, would be more active. For you to be an active individual in this community, what you can do is you can take part in webinars happening all over the world. For example, I'm part of the Sri CISO executive, and we do monthly calls from professionals all over the world, and we select two of them, and they share their experiences. And then you have the SANS webcast. You can just Google this thing, but I'll try to show you at the end of the presentation. And there's Black Hill and ethicalhacker.net. They do monthly calls on certain topics, which I have attended. Highly recommended. So I'll share the slides later, so you can still look at this after the presentation is over. The next part would be CTFs. CTFs are capture the flag events. If you don't know what is a CTF, or you haven't done one, I recommend you to go and take part in this thing called PICO CTF. It's an introductory CTF competition for beginners or intermediates, or even if you're into advanced CTF thing, you can still go and try it out. You might know already about it. So CTFs are a great way for you to learn about practical concepts, because it won't be theory. You're not going to watch everything and just stay. Studying, like if you're into cybersecurity, it's not all about studying. You have to have some hands-on experience to get better at it. Learning isn't everything. Applying the knowledge you have is the highest thing you can do in cybersecurity here. So you can go into PICO CTF. Basically, if anyone doesn't know what a CTF is, it's like this. If you're into gaming or something, the same concept here. You have some challenges to solve. If you solve the challenge, you'll get some points. So at the end of the competition, they look at who has the highest point and award them something. So it's not about winning. It's all about learning new things. Every time I go to new CTF, I'll be like amazed on like how little I know. What I even know now at this stage is just only, I would say, 0.5% out of the whole 100% cybersecurity range. I just know 0.5% of the whole thing, and even that is a lot. And any conferences, like I said, besides DEF CON, there are a lot of cybersecurity conferences happening all over the world. And any conference they run, they will have a CTF running parallelly in the conference. So if you see any cybersecurity conferences, go to the website and see, is there any CTF running? And if you want to know about all the CTFs running all over the world, go to this website called ctftime.org. Every day there's some CTF happening, some part in the world. If you want to just try, if you're free, just go and try a CTF there. So the next part is about reading blogs. These are very limited. Like I've only listed 5 blogs here, but there are a lot of blogs from a lot of people all over the world, because this is a community what you are part of, and they'll be helping each other and they'll be sharing their knowledge. So the Hacker News is this is somewhat famous among us. They have weekly news on cybersecurity incidents happening all over the world. Then there's nay.com is a famous cryptographer. Then there's Krebs on security. If you're into OSINT is open source intelligence. If you're into that area sector of cybersecurity, go and read about what is OSINT here, and I think you'll be interested in OSINT also. Then there's the register.com. They share news on cybersecurity basically, but there are a lot of individual people who are sharing their content on blogs also. How do you find these blogs? I'll tell you that also, because I've just given small information here. I'm just telling you all to go and Google this, go and Google this. But I'll be sharing some ways for you to find these also. The first thing is, see, these things I didn't find on my own, honestly. I just Google, yeah, but not all of these. I didn't find it on my own. Some people shared it in their social media feed, not on Facebook. Obviously, people are not going to share this on Facebook. Two areas where I found this was LinkedIn and Twitter. Build your network. Find people. Find like you. There are a lot of cybersecurity professionals, even IT professionals on LinkedIn. Connect with them because the second internship I told you I got from Meta Defense Labs, it was through LinkedIn, through a LinkedIn post which I saw. So it can open you up to new areas. Just if in here, if you're not sure, like if you're afraid on how do I navigate LinkedIn, if you think that you're so new to this or you're too scared to do it, forget about all of that. Just go create an account, spend 10 minutes scrolling through the feed, connect with random people, and over time you'll just get used to that. And then Twitter is a great place. I'm on Twitter. Maybe if you go to if you just search my name, you'll get one of the Twitter link. You can follow the people I follow. So there are all the individuals I told you here have a Twitter account, and it's a good. The community at Twitter is very good. And there's Discord. If I mentioned earlier, I talked about NAHAMSEC Cyber Mentor Stock and Insider PhD. If you go to their YouTube channel, they will have a Discord link. If you don't know what Discord is, it's like Slack or anything. It's a group where you can chat, call, and talk to people, but it can handle a large number of people at the same time. So you can check out Discord groups. Just type hi in that, say introduce yourself. Someone somewhere is going to notice you, and they're going to talk to you and build communities like that. Then there's Slack channels. I told you, She's Executive, which I'm part of. They have a Slack channel. If anyone wants an invite, just send me a message on LinkedIn after this. I'll share the link with you. And there are some meetup groups, but this is not famous right now due to the pandemic happening. But other than that, there are some meetup groups where we meet at least once a month in one of the places in Colombo, and we talk about information security. So this is something you can look into after the meetup groups is something you can look into after the pandemic is over, but still some of the groups do webinars and everything. Okay, now the interesting part. Okay, now we want to learn about how to hack, how to defend, how to get hands-on experience in cybersecurity. I'll be sharing most of the resources which I have used. So these are not just some random resources I found and thrown out here. These are the resources I have used, and I'll be sharing my experience with each of them. So first of all, you have Try Hack Me. I think most of you may be familiar with Hack the Box, because some of our lecturers recommend us to do that also. Try Hack Me compared to Hack the Box is an easier way of getting into Hack the Box, because I remember doing my first box in Hack the Box, like rooting it. It was very difficult. I couldn't do it without a tutorial helping me, because I was very new to it. I didn't know exactly what the Nmap scan was like. I didn't know the proper steps to go and get a root. So it was very hard. So if you're moving into Hack the Box, before that, I recommend to try out Try Hack Me. They are similar to Hack the Box, but much more user friendly, and it's much more easier to tackle. Like it goes and teach you to the basic levels. There's a subscription, but there's a subscription available, but still there are some free rooms for you to try it out. Then there's Bugcrowd University. I'll just skip through this, then I'll show you the website later. Then there's Bugcrowd University, Hacker 101, Pentester Lab. And if you're into CTF, I highly recommend you to go and there's a course here, free course available. This is a free website to learn how to handle CTF questions and how to solve CTF challenges. I highly recommend you to go and visit this website. So apart from this, if you're into defensive side, if you want to be more in the defensive sector of cybersecurity, if you want to analyze malware, there's this website called Malware Traffic Analysis, and he gives out samples on certain malwares and some PCAP, Wireshark PCAP files, which you can analyze, and there'll be some challenges for you to solve. Then there's, as I said, Science Institute. They do so most of the training here would be paid here, which is like the cost will be too high for us Sri Lankans when you convert the money also. But there are some free trainings, free webinars, free blogs available at Science Institute. Then again, if you're into DFIR, forensics and incident response, highly recommend you go and check out this channel. They have all the conferences happening all over the world regarding DFIR, all the blogs you need to follow, all the resources you need, everything is listed in this website. Then I think some of us may be familiar with this website called Over the Wire. Over the Wire is like a wargaming situation. It's like a CTF, but the challenges here would help you to go through to a next level. So if you don't know what it is, just I recommend you just go to the website, read about it, start somewhere. You have to start somewhere here. And then there's Under the Wire. Over the Wire is more focused on Linux. It's more focused on Linux pen testing. Under the Wire will be focusing on PowerShell, which is Windows pen testing. Like we'll be using PowerShell to do most of the tasks there. Then last but not least, Cybrary. Even though Cybrary, there are some paid content, there are a lot of free content available on Cybrary. You will have professionals from all over the world teaching you about certain topics. So highly recommend you to go and watch that channel too. Yeah, so this is a lot to do. I told you so many resources, and even like I haven't completed everything there, but from my experience, those are great resources. So before you try each of this, have a goal. This is for your life, like even for cybersecurity, have a goal, know where you're going. If you want to go into red teaming, offensive, okay, try it out. But later, if you see it's not a fit for you, there are still other domains where you can try. And while you're into red teaming, I recommend you to grow like a tree here. Go to branch and see what is in the other area. Because for you to be a knowledgeable individual, or for you to be a leader in cybersecurity, you might need to have a good knowledge on every part here. So before I continue the session, I'll just share the resources which I've shown here. Give me a second. I have the website open here. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen. So this is Try Hack Me, which I told you. It's a gamified version if you want to learn into cybersecurity, like if you want to even pen testing or any part, it's better if you want to go to this website and check this out what really is. You have rooms to complete, even though there's a subscription. Yeah.
For the interruption, like we can do something like this. We can create an kind of a document or something, like we can share it through the our page or else through the WhatsApp groups. I think it will be more easy for you to explain and as well as for them to take. Otherwise, they have to memorize or write down everything.
I'll be sharing this presentation also here.
Yeah, you can share this one and as well as those links, no?
Yeah, I'll share with this.
Okay,
Just open this tab just to show like what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be sharing this so like you don't have to note everything here. I'm just telling you all to so that you get a grasp of what I'm saying here. So all these links and the presentation slide also I'll be sharing. Okay, so moving on. Now you know about the resources, like what you need to do here. And there are some questions like which I had, some of our friends had when we were doing, when we were in our second year. And yeah, let me show it to you. So we had some questions. The first question we had was, do we need to code? Because some of us, like even some of my friends, even like people I know, came into cybersecurity because they thought there's no need for coding. And like when there's some coding questions or any challenges related to any concepts related to coding, like people would be complaining, and why do we need to learn to code? I thought in cybersecurity we don't need to code; it's all about hacking. But sad to say, you need to know code. You need to know coding a bit at least. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be set up applications and everything. But it's recommended for you to know at least some of the languages. If you want to see, if you're gonna like if you wanna